Alright guys, so this is going to be a video response to Spinnernet. Spinnernet talks about how independent wrestling fans don't really take the time out and give the WWE and TNA mainstream fans a chance to kind of understand what's going on with the storylines and the character development and things like that. So, Mr. Narrator actually did a video about PWG, broke it down, really easy to digest for WWE and TNA fans. So I figured I'd do this. I've kind of been guilty of the past of, you know, putting a little bit too much emphasis on match quality and not enough on storylines and character development. So yeah, I think this is something that I want to do. So I figured I'd do it for Ring of Honor. I'm not so sure how well it's going to come out, but let's just give it a try. Okay, well, Ring of Honor first started in 2002. Basically, ECW went bankrupt in 2001. So, RF Video, Robbie Feinstein, they used to distribute the ECW footage. So, they needed a new source of income. So, that's where Ring of Honor started from. So, WWE at the time was a little bit more like ECW, was very bloodthirsty, Attitude Era, pretty cutting edge. So, the thing was to be different from WWE. So, that was to go back to old school traditional wrestling. It was very athletic wrestling. Very technical, had a code of honor, basically shake hands before and after every match. So it was basically they went back to traditional old school style wrestling. So that's pretty much what it was. And okay, so first we'll talk about the Ring of Honor champion. His name is Tyler Black. Basically, this guy's amazing in the ring. He's like a taller version of AJ Styles. Very, very fun to watch. But, he came to Ring of Honor in 2007. Gabe Sapolsky brought him in with Jimmy Jacobs. He made a name for himself on the Wrestling Society X show and also wrestled in IWA Mid-South in the Midwest. So, but, they brought him in to be part of the stable called the Age of the Fall. It was a very gothic stable, very cutting edge, very anti-society, anti-popular. They started feuding with the Briscoes, so that was the stable at first. But Tyler Black was just so great in the ring. His in-ring ability couldn't be ignored, and that's the thing about Ring of Honor. No matter who you are, if you could get it done in the ring, you get your shot, and that's exactly what happened. He took Nigel McGuinness, Desmond Wolfe from TNA. He took him to the limit in a classic Ring of Honor World Title match at the Taking the Prisoners pay-per-view in March of 2008. And since then, Tyler Black was being built up to be the next big Ring of Honor champion. He main evented every single pay-per-view in 2008, besides one, I believe. And they were building him up, but then Ring of Honor switched bookers. They switched the booker to from Gabe Sapolsky to Adam Pearce. So, Tyler Black got a lot of title shots, and then he lost a lot of matches. Then the fans started turning on him, and since then he's pretty much become like the John Cena of Ring of Honor. The Ring of Honor fans usually turn on the biggest babyface in the company. So there's not anything wrong that Tyler Black is doing. He needs to improve his mic skills, but he's still amazing in the ring. And finally he won the Ring of Honor World Championship by dethroning Austin Aries. Aries is the only two-time Ring of Honor World Champion. I'll talk more about him later, but he defeated him at the 8th anniversary show in what was an amazing match with an amazing finish. So, Tyler Black in the middle of a great ROH World Title reign right now is your Ring of Honor champion. That's Tyler Black. Okay, the next guy I'll talk about is Austin Aries. Austin Aries is the only two-time Ring of Honor World Champion. Basically, this guy came out of nowhere. He was young, hot, and fresh. He was very, very athletic. He's like a combination of Benoit and Jericho all into one. They call him the wrestling machine. He's very explosive. His philosophy was to take it to Samoa Joe harder than anyone has, just to go full blast 100 miles an hour. And, he got his shot. Samoa Joe was the 21-month Ring of Honor champion, the longest reigning Ring of Honor champion in ROH history. So, yeah, that's Samoa Joe. You guys might remember from TNA. And Austin Aries took it right to him. Final Battle 2004, the very last event of 2004 in December. Aries took it to him and defeated him with a combination of a brainbuster and a 450 splash to finally dethrone Samoa Joe. I mean, just an amazing moment. Probably the greatest moment in Ring of Honor history, in my opinion, right there. And he just had an amazing Ring of Honor World Title reign. And him and Roderick Strong were the longest reigning Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions in 2006 at that time. And since then he turned heel, had some problems with TNA. His TNA stuff didn't work out as Austin Starr, and then he came back to Ring of Honor, and it became a cocky, arrogant asshole type of heel. It worked out beautifully. He cut a great promo on the mic. He can insult the crowd. He's just an MVP type of character, and he's the first ever two-time Ring of Honor champion, and he lost the world title to Tyler Black in February, but he's still going strong. He's trying to become a manager now, and Aries is still there. He's still playing a great supporting role. He's one of the most important characters in Ring of Honor history. Okay, the Briscoes are pretty much considered the greatest tag team in Ring of Honor history. They were there since day one. Mark was really young. He was only 17. Jay was 18. So, they pretty much grew up in Ring of Honor. And as the years went on, they got a lot better. 2006 and 2007, they got a lot more athletic. They put some muscle on. And, 2007, when Ring of Honor first started doing pay-per-views, they were pretty much the guys stealing the show at every single show. Respect is earned, driven man up. The first three pay-per-views, their matches had people buzzing. The ladder war with Tina Generica. So yeah, I mean they're pretty much considered Ring of Honor legends, and they were there throughout everything. Their gimmick is that they're like Southern rednecks. They drink beer. They cut in your face promos. That's pretty much the Briscoes. They've kind of slowed down since then. Mark Briscoe's gone through some injury problems, but still, they're still considered the greatest, one of the greatest tag teams in the United States on the independent scene. So that's the Briscoes. Okay, the next guys we'll talk about are Kevin Steen and El Generico, probably the most fun tag team in Ring of Honor history. They started tagging up in Ring of Honor in 2007. One guy's from Canada, one guy's from Mexico. El Generico's pretty much, the fun-loving babyface. He gets the crowd into a lot of his matches, and Kevin Steen's pretty much, the fat bully that would pretty much eat your lunch at school. That's pretty much Kevin Steen. But they had a great Ring of Honor World Title reign. They had some great classic matches with the Briscoes, the Ladder War in 2007. Those were classic matches. But, however, Kevin Steen pretty much turned heel on El Generico at Final Battle 2009, and now they're in the midst of a war. It's pretty much a big feud. It's pretty much one of the most emotional feuds in Ring of Honor history. So, that's pretty much it, and right now we're pretty much in the middle of an excellent feud between those two guys. Okay, Christopher Daniels is one of the founding fathers of Ring of Honor. He was there since the very first show. He was pretty much anti-Ring of Honor, hated the Code of Honor. The TNA actually signed him away from Ring of Honor, and then eventually when he came back, Ring of Honor fans felt like he was putting more effort into TNA than Ring of Honor, so some fans turned on him. However, he is back now. He's been putting on some good matches. He's pretty old. Some people call him Old Man Daniels and joke around with him, but he is reliable. He is a veteran. He is very, very fluid in the ring, and there's rumors that he is negotiating with TNA to come back, but just enjoy it while it lasts. So Christopher Daniels is still there, pretty much, the biggest name in Ring of Honor right now. So, okay, so let's talk about Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. There's a chance that he might be coming back to Ring of Honor pretty soon, possibly at Glory of Honor 9 after his 90 days no compete clause expires. However, if some of you don't know, he's been with Ring of Honor since the very first show, since he was 20 years old. Pretty much became the best wrestler in the company, and to most real wrestling fans that follow independent wrestling, we pretty much consider him the greatest professional wrestler of the decade. And he's just had so many great matches in ROH history. When you think of Ring of Honor, you think of him. He's pretty much like the Babe Ruth. And he didn't have the longest Ring of Honor World Title reign, but his reign was without a doubt the best. He just had so many great matches. He had a 15-month title reign. He won the Ring of Honor World Title from Jamie Noble, aka James Gibson, at Glory of Honor 4. And his gimmick was just to be the best in the world. He was very, very cocky. He shoved into people's faces, and he developed a great personality in 2006. And he wrestled through injuries. He wrestled through pretty much anything. But no matter what the circumstances were, he still had the great matches. And he's pretty much regarded as a legend on the independent scene. And a lot of people are very, very excited to see Bryan Danielson back in Ring of Honor and throughout all the independents. So that's Bryan Danielson. Okay, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions are the Kings of Wrestling, Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli. Basically, these guys came to ROH in 2006 as part of the CZW invasion. In 2006, they really couldn't be taken too seriously. Now they're more of a team. They've gotten themselves into better shape. They're a lot more seasoned in the ring. Claudio's more of the European style. He's pretty much the guy that just blows people's minds out there with some of the stuff that he could do. Chris Hero is pretty much, more of a mouthpiece. He talks a lot of trash. He's very, very stiff with his elbows. He's kind of got more of a Japanese style, very tall, blonde hair, that type of look. Like I said, he's very, very charismatic. And, both these guys are just so fun to watch. They just go together. They're just a great team. And it's fun, very, very fun to watch them live. They just won the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships from the Briscoes at the Big Bang. And they're in the midst of a great Ring of Honor World Title reign. And I would say, in my opinion, they are the best tag team in the United States right now. Okay, the next guy I'll talk about is Roderick Strong. Roderick is pretty much like the Chris Benoit of Ring of Honor. Never really got his due. Never really always gets overshadowed, but he's pretty much the backbone. He's been there since 2003. He was part of, like I said, with Aries, he was part of one of the best tag teams in Ring of Honor history. Him and Austin Aries in 2006 defended the belt overseas, made the Ring of Honor tag team titles, world tag team titles, and Strong has had some excellent matches. Him and Danielson had some classics. He's just very stiff in the ring. He's very stiff. He's brutal. Throws a lot of chops, a lot of backbreakers, a lot of insecurities. He's a hell of a performer. But one of the things that has hurt him is his mic skills. He's just had a tough time on the mic. That's pretty much what's been holding him back. But he's pretty much the best wrestler in the company that has never been the Ring of Honor World Champion. So that's Roderick Strong. Talk about is David Richards. David Richards was in a tag team with the American Wolves, and he still is. And they're pretty much considered one of the best tag teams in the world. But David Richards, this guy is kind of like a combination of Chris Benoit and the Dynamite Kid. Very similar in the way they wrestle and the way their bodies look. But Davey's very intense. He's no nonsense. He doesn't give a shit about the WWE style. He turned down a WWE contract. He just loves to wrestle the way he likes to wrestle. He's just insane. He'll pretty much kill himself in the match. However, there's rumors that he might be going to become a paramedic and retire from the business because he doesn't want to end up like Benoit or Dynamite. But we'll see what happens there. But since Bryan Danielson has left, this guy's pretty much the best wrestler in the company, and without that, probably the best on the independent scene in the United States. So that's